Hello everyone, welcome to the Analyst work. So in this work, we are going to learn about the business analyst, uh, what's the roles and what's the responsibility of business analyst, how they work, what is the future expect of the business analyst, and what kind of tools required to become a business analyst. So this is our first session, so in which we are going to learn about the basic things. So let's start. So, a business analyst is a person who is bridging the gap between the IT and business using the data analytics and access process data, determine requirement and delivers the data-driven recommendation and report to the executives and the stakeholders. So, what do you mean by business analyst? Like they act like a bridge between the customers and the technology team. Suppose that if you have any requirement and you want to build some things like a social networking site like Facebook. So the Facebook CEOs came to the any company like I want this kind of applications where we can connect the person, local person, and create a group, share the ideas, share the thoughts. So this kind of applications the clients wants to develop. So the software company, like they have a team, they have a product team, they have a lot of teams over there, like development team, ops teams, DevOps team. So business analyst work is like whatever the requirement, whatever the things a client want. So business analyst gather that requirement and process that requirement. Apart from that, if there will be any changes, any kind of change request is there, so it is act like connectors between them. If like at this point, some point of time, like they develop some things, so uh, be goes to the client like we develop this kind of application, whatever you want, whatever we have discussed earlier. So that's the overall process. So clients say that like no, there will be some changes I want to. So the change request can gather by the business analyst, and later he goes with the development team, connect with the development teams, and so this kind of changes you have to done. And so this kind of modification, what kind of requirement, what kind of applications, how they work. So the basic ideas client gives to the business analyst. Business analyst makes lots of documents and process to the development team. So this is the basic things, basic idea what the business analyst can do. So in practical terms, we can say that business analyst is a person
Adios, amigo. Powering on.
who is involved with all the phase of products and project life cycle. We is not only the connectors with the company but outside the companies too. That means he's not only communicates within the company but outside the company. Like he's communicating with the internal stakeholders. Apart from that, it is also responsible to connect with the outside stakeholders as well. So what I believe we can describe in three point like the major parts of when the requirement or the initial phase of the project. So their major part is like requirement gathering, content writing, and the technical parts. So BA developed a lot of documents generally. So they prepared in previous in waterfall model, so you can just go with like they prepared BRDs, FRDs, SRS, this kind of things documents they are going to prepare in terms of agile. So they are going to prepare about user stories. So this kind of practices generally BE can do. So what kind of skills required to become a business analyst? So this is a client facing job. We got all, you're also aware about lots of technologies and tools, but this is more than kind of if you go with any kind of business analyst, there are two types, like functional and non-functional. So functional is a mandatory for everyone. Apart from that, if you are technically sound, so there are other scope as well. You can make user stories and everything. User story, when you are as a functional, you are also going to make the user stories. So the basic skills like you are good communication skills, email etiquettes, or requirement engineering, documentation, felicitation skills for meeting, a lots of sessions you are going to conduct when you are into any project. So that's the things. Apart from that, what's the top skills to learn to thrive in 2023? So this is the some functional skills you have to focus on, like develop strategic thinking, impress ability, strong with the adaptability. So get financial aware, cross-functional stakeholder communication, collaboration. So what is means by cross-functional stakeholder collaborations? Like there is just some offshore team and onshore team. You are a person who can relate the information and gather that information and process it to make your application more flexible and so data driven analytic decision, collect analyze and data to derive decision. So you collect all the kind of information. So how's the resources going work and we can lack it anywhere or not. So this kind of things you have to require to become a business analyst. So there are lots of domain, specific domain where business analysts can work. So the domain like there is financial, insurance, healthcare is a very vast domain. There are lots of things and lots of opening for a healthcare business analyst. And there is technical business analyst, there is e-commerce, there is logistic, there is retail, so there is manufacturing business analyst. Apart from that, technical business analyst, scientific business analyst, pharmaceuticals also require that. So there are domain specific knowledge is an important aspect for any business analyst. So someone is good with healthcare, someone is good with e-commerce, someone is good with the retail. So it's not mandatory like you can start your career with any single domain. Later on, many of candidates I know who can change their domain after 2 or 3 years. So what's the role and responsibility of business analyst? So in daily routine, what can kind of tasks they are going to perform? Like they are more reliable. So they understands the requirement of the business, the basic things, understands the requirement of the business. So suppose that if you got any kind of requirement and you want to understand first, like if I want to build an application like Swiggy or Zomato, if client wants to develop, so we have a idea about it, like what's Swiggy and Zomato can do in the later future when we develop things, what kind of possibilities of this system. So we collect the idea, we collect the information from the client, and we process them, we analyze them, we elaborate the details of the projects. So these kind of functions res- BA is responsible for. So they elaborate the details of the projects. So they support the project implementation. UAT testings also can performed by the business analyst. So in later section we can learn about the UAT testing as well. So there are lots. There are generally two types of requirement: functional requirement and non-functional requirement. When we going to start about proper BA analysis or requirement gathering. So in BRD documentation, I can teach you what is a functional requirement and non-functional requirement. So they are also responsible. Some BAs are also responsible for technical writing, but there are different teams of technical writers who can perform this kind of task. So decision making and problem skills, maintenance of system and operations. Suppose that you are going to build something, but later on there you deliver the that project to the client, but there is some maintenance and glitch over there. So client will be escalated tickets over there, and you got a ticket, you can prioritize this ticket, who is the maintenance team or support teams right away, and you can also connect with them how is the things going on and how much time it will be required to cover. So this kind of practice BA can perform. So team building is also important because you are responsible for all the phases. Uh, when initial phase basically, with I can say that it before designing or requirement gathering. So you are main responsible over there. Apart from you are also uh, work like a passives for like just taking the how is the things going on, the sprint is going well or not. This kind of practice then BA can perform. So the whatever I can say, it's like represented here, like understanding the business requirement, various business possibilities, presentation, project delays, supporting and implementation, functional and non-functional requirement. So what is responsibility of a business analyst? So like they understands enterprise problems and goals, analyze the needs and solutions, driving change, facilitating stakeholder collaboration. So they understands the requirement, what's the problem, what's the needs of the client. They can process in, they can analyze in, and they can provide the major solution. In so there are some behavioral characteristics like ethics, personal accountability, trustworthiness, time management, and organizational skills and adaptability. You have to become adaptable in modern world. Later it cannot, but right now it is more important how's your product going on, because the market is going to change in every 2 years. So if you have any project earlier, you can say that in Facebook there is not a reels option, but right now everywhere you can do that, you can find the reels option over there. So that's the user's demands, and the client will be changed that. So you have to be adaptable. So there are different phase. If you just aware about SDLC cycle, so software development life cycle, the first phase is a requirement phase where we can gather the requirement. Second is designing phase, and where we can design the flows. Third is development phase, like discuss where we can develop the things. Testing phase and deployment phase, and later on you can also add maintenance phase. So So, as a BA, which phase, what kind of task you are going to perform? So, first two phase is very important for BA. So, they are actually participants over there. In a requirement phase, BA gathers the requirement, make the documents, BRD, FRDs. If you go with like Agile or like waterfall models, so to take the requirement, understand the requirement, make the document, and in design phase, so as a BA, expect I can teach you, or I can provide the information to develop the flows, wire diagrams, mock-up calls. So when you are just aware about some wireframings, so generally wireframes we take a mock-ups, like we give a basic designing how's the software can works, how's the basic software is going to work. So that's the role. Like I can teach you about the wireframes, how we can make. So it's very easy. So how's the application, complete basic idea about the application. If we click here, so it will be goes there, it will be click here. So when you take the requirement by idf id, that time you are also make your user story. So you already make your user story in development phase, you discuss user stories with the developer. So what how is the function can work. So if you log into the any page, it's required like first name, last name. So that kind of things, how the software can work, you can written in the user stories from a small task. So you can discuss that with the developers, and developer can develop the application according to the with the help of your user stories. In testing phase, you can also responsible for UAT testings and verification of final release. You with the help of testers, you are responsible to create test cases as well. So in deployment phase, the creation of technical document, product manuals, this kind of tasks you are going to perform. So as a business analyst, need identification, elicitation and collaboration, requirement communication, requirement modeling, requirement management. So what's this business analyst do? Understand what business does and how it does. Determine how to improve existing business process and identifying what's the business problems and how business analyst can improve that. What is the alternative of that? Identifying the steps or tasks to support the implementation of new features and functionality. So, like, suppose that if you have any softwares who can working, but there is some glitch, or they are not so attractive, or any kind of a glitch over there. So, business analyst just understands or uh, determine how is the problems, how what kind of problem is there, how we are going to resolve that. So, if there any new features will be added, and if we can add any new feature, how they impact other features can be impacted by the new feature. So, this kind of things a business analyst can do. So a day, the daily life of a business analyst. So like they are brainstorming, requirement gathering, so work cooperation with other projects manager, and you can also responsible if you suppose that if you assign or sing or user stories to the developers, and that times like how is the sprint going on. So this kind of task is responsible for a business analyst. So, what is the overall growth of business analysis? So, this is the a detailed analysis. So, at a management level, it will be raised around 20, 30, 14%. So, there are lots